I hired a private investigator and I found out who my husband is having an affair with. Now he's screwed because I am going to start an all-out war. For a little while I've suspected my husband of cheating. I didn't have any justification for thinking or feeling this way, but I couldn't stop having this gut feeling that something was wrong. So I decided to keep a closer eye on him, and I still found nothing. And for a long time, I was angry with myself for suspecting him and for invading his privacy. We went to marriage counseling and I apologized for breaking his trust in me, and for a little while all was well. I can't believe I apologized to that lying sack of poop. But that wretched feeling never went away. I tried so hard to get over this feeling that he was deceiving me in some way, and I just couldn't. So I decided it was time to hire a private investigator instead of playing Inspector Gadget myself. Let me tell you, this was the best thing I ever spent money on. Within a month the PI was able to confirm my suspicions, but it was a shock to find out that it was his stepsister and his stepmother. Not only that he may be the father of his stepsister's newborn baby. I could have killed him, but I kept my composure and I kept this information to myself and continued to act as normal as possible. Believe me, that was a very difficult thing to do. I slowly started detaching from him and even moved into our spare bedroom, and we continued to drift apart. I moved out, got a new job, and started saving money for our divorce. I got my life in order. Now here we are almost a year later and in the final stages of our divorce, and I've still not told anyone. I've spent the last year preparing for our divorce because I'll be damned to leave this marriage empty-handed. I wanted to handle our financial affairs first because my husband works for his father and I didn't want to leave him unemployed during our divorce process. This son of a cunt dragged out our divorce and fought me for everything, even things that were mine to begin with, but I kept my calm and I won't say a word until I get everything I deserve. That's when I'll tell his father. And his father is not a man to be messed with. I've been assured the check will clear in 3 days, or less, and it's over for Robert, cause as soon as that money hits my account his mother, stepmother, stepsister, brother-in-law, and father will receive a beautifully written email with pictures and videos of what he has been up to. His dad will tear him apart. Count your days, Robert. Edit 1. I got my money. Time to send it. Edit 2. His stepmother and stepsister do not know about each other. I don't know how long he has been intimately involved with them, but I do know it started in adulthood for all involved. Update post. Let's clear some things up. When Robert's father remarried, Robert was already a 30-year-old man, so no, he wasn't intimately groomed, and his stepsister was 31 when she met him. Again, no one here is being intimately abused. All involved were already well into adulthood when meeting and when they started to F around. As for the money, well honey, that's money he owed me but was being a dick about giving it back. I invested in his business ventures and he refused to pay me my share. And that's not poop I was willing to let slide. You can't get a broke man to pay his debt. So yes, I wasn't going to let him be unemployed during our divorce. The aftermath. I sent the email as soon as I saw the money had hit my account. The first to call me was Robert and I picked up. The first words out of his mouth were, "You evil ass bitch." I replied with "Your mama," and I ended the call. The second person to call me is the stepsister's husband. He was just heartbroken. He asked me a ton of questions and he asked for my divorce lawyer's information. We also discussed him getting a DNA test for all their kids. Through my brother-in-law, I found out that there was an all-out war between my stepmother and father-in-law. He tried to kick her out but she locked herself up in the bedroom, while father-in-law was throwing her poop outside. Stepmother-in-law called her daughter for help. At some point, the stepsister and stepmother got in a fight. The fight was so bad that the neighbors called the police. In the scuffle to separate mother and daughter, they hurt one of the police officers and were arrested. They are still in jail because neither of them have anyone willing to bail them out. The following day I got a call from Robert telling me that his daddy almost ran him over, so he wanted to come to stay with me because he was scared that his daddy or brother-in-law will try to beat his ass again. Robert is scared to go home. His dad and brother-in-law are pretty much camped outside of his place and have already jumped him twice. Robert is terrified. He tried to stay with his mother and she told him that he had made his bed and should now lie in it. FYI, I am not done with Robert yet. I've got more planned for him. Update 2. Ex-sister-in-law is in deep doo-doo as the results for the DNA test came back and 0 out of 3 is his. Ex-brother-in-law is distraught. She doesn't even know who else could be the father. Heifer, how many men have you been betting, besides your husband and mine? Don't worry, I'll find out. Like, I knew she was a trifling old bag of bones, but I never knew she was this cold. Brother-in-law has decided to cut ties for his own sanity as he feared he might act in a way that is outside his character. Now I feel bad for those babies, but I understand why he had to leave. Did we, ex-brother-in-law and I, give a copy of the DNA results to everyone she knows? Yes, we did. Did I personally go out of my way to darken the steps of a church and make my testimony and hand out copies of the DNA results? I sure did. Ex-mother-in-law and her daughter have cut ties and are silently hating each other, but they are image-obsessed, so they kept things cute and silent. But a heathen like myself prefers to be cute and audible, and I haven't forgotten dear mother. So I went and gave my testimony in front her beloved peers and read out a couple of the vilest text messages she and my ex-husband exchanged. There were a lot of gasps and screaming, but I kept reading for as long as I could. I sure effing did. Unfortunately, I couldn't read more before I was dragged out and then attacked by ex-mother-in-law and ex-sister-in-law, but I handled that and they never again lunged at me or threatened me with physical violence again. Over the years Robert has moved as shady in his legal business as his personal life, and as a law-abiding citizen I felt compelled to inform the taxman of his dealings, as well as informing his former business partners and current ones. I also did some legally ambiguous things to Robert that I don't want to put into writing, but he's no longer slinging dick like his life depended on it. That testicular fortitude he once had is slipping away. He just doesn't have that pep in his step anymore. It's hard to remain so casual when there are a couple of men hoping to catch you and an ex-wife who still has him on Find My Best. Robert's life is in tatters, and well, I love that for him.